Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome to the Talky Tuesday Winter's SEO live stream with me, your host, the 2021 No Retreat Legend of Legends Champions. I don't talk about it very much. Winter's SEO. Nice to see you. I'm here. You can tell that there's lots of Warhammer 40k stuff coming up because the title is quite generic for this one, because I can't talk about the stuff coming up yet except for the stuff released on the Warhammer community website, so we could talk about that a little bit. But next week, there's lots of stuff to talk about. Hi, Adam San. Hi, Olaf. Hi, Jackus Woods from France. Hi, Andy H. Hi, the Eternal Crusader. Thanks for joining me. I have to let out the sigh of because a minute ago I was doing my taxes, and I can tell you that's not fun for anyone. Are you leaving? Have you woken up? I can hear you moving around down there. Say hi to the internet. Yes. So we're good. We'll try and put any tax burden details from your mind. Today, this evening, we talk about the Warhams. I did some things, look, as well. I painted 6 of them so far. The zoomy bikey zoomies. We're zooming around all over the place. You'd think with 10,000 points worth of Necrons, I'd have some of these done. But no, I've got 6 done. We're going to do 6 more. Here's the 6 more. There's the bases from marchofwar.co.uk, and then that goes, look, magnets. It works. I just need to finish off these other 6, and that's for the Star Shatter Arsenal, or for the simple fact that in my 10,000 points of Necrons, I don't have any bikes. I never got round to doing them. So thank you to everyone who uses the Element code and uses Element Games for getting their hobby goodness, just like me. I use Element Games to get my hobby goodness using the code and using the link that I put in my videos. Thank you to everyone who does that. I know there's a bunch of you out there who religiously do that, and that really helps support me because it helps me get stuff cheaper too. Finally, shout out to the Mug Club members. We got a cup of coffee. It's late at night, but we've got a cup of coffee locked, ready to go, because I did have a little bit of a nap earlier on the sofa. Getting old. Coffee, 1 sugar. Let's check out the chat. Let's see if the chat are hopping this evening. A British person says, good evening. How is 2025 doing so far? It's a bit mid. We had some snow, then the snow went away in the UK. It's a bit mid, really. I mean, we're only a few days in. Who knows? There could be a zombie apocalypse coming soon. Andy H, I'm building Demos pattern predators this evening. Nice. Good. You got to have your hobby goals. What are your hobby goals, chat, for 2025? Have you got any hobby goals? Have you got like, I want to get this done? By the time you get to the end of 2025 and you look back over your shoulder and thinking, I painted that. What is the thing that'd be nice to have done by the end of 2025? I've been struck with the plague and all my painting has stopped, says the Eternal Crusader. Evening, Woof Boot Chronicles. It's Woof Boot Chronicles, which is Stylus. Stylus Monkey came down the other day, and we filmed a game of want to work on a back. You do want to, yeah. We filmed a game of Old World. I put up a game of Old World the weekend on the Saturday. Absolute bloodbath. I'm sure some of you have seen that. Absolute bloodbath. That's the way it goes in Old World sometimes. Sometimes it just ends really quickly. But yeah, Monkey and Stylus came down. 3,000 points. There was a giant and everything. Evening Heresy Squat. My hobby goal is to play at least 1 game of Horus Heresy before WAB. There's loads of people in the Discord who'll play Heresy with you. Hit up someone in the Discord chat. Talk to Rick Shazam. He's got a nice place. Or Andy H. Or me. Come down and see me before WAB. Blood Buffalo. All the way from Buffalo. Check out those bills. Doing well. Yeah. Hobby goal to both play my first Heresy game with my mixed White Scars, Blood Angels, and play my first Bolt Action game. Bolt Action. Nice. Very, very cheap compared to 40k. Bolt Action is probably the way to do it if you're in America. Check out them bills. Luke Bracken just bought a Space Marine pile of shame from Facebook. That'll keep you going. That will keep you going for a very long time. You've got to have a pile of shame. Pile of opportunity. Because you need piles. Necron's looking awesome. Thank you. You need some yourself. Well, you've got, Luke, you've got the Space Marine pile of shame to work on. You've got to work on the Space Marine pile first before you delve into your Necron pile. Got to work on those piles, you know. Got a whole bolt action for under 200. Yeah, I mean, bolt action, it's amazing because you buy the bolt action box. If anyone doesn't know what bolt action is, that's like the World War II one. You buy the whole box. Imagine buying a starter box for 40k and it's got all the rules in it and 2 armies in it. And there are quite a lot of armies in it. It's about 25% the cost of... Are you moving? He's in the shower right now, look. He's in the shower. I have far too much bolt action on the shelves behind me. Nice. Keep going, cat. Keep going. Left a bit, right a bit. Sort of like propped up on his corner like that, like a French lady. Paint me like one of your French girls. You'd think they'd go to another bit, look. Like he's done that bit now for like a good 10, 20 seconds. And you'd think he'd go to another bit. But he's not going to another bit. He's still doing the same bit. And the same bit. That bit is going to be really clean. Everything else is going to be filthy. But that bit is going to be clean. Not that cats are clean. They're more like... They're covered in spit, right? Hi, Pierre. Still doing the same bit. I'm waiting for him to go to another bit. Is he going to go to another bit? Or is it just that bit going to be super clean? Are you doing more Horus Heresy? Or moving on to something else for videos? I am doing Horus Heresy and 40k. And a little bit of Old World every now and then. Those are the games that I play. Does that count as moving on to another bit? Higher up on the shoulder? I think it's the same bit. I'll just sit... This is the thing about being a cat owner. I'll just sit there for hours and just watch him. Well, not that he'll clean himself for hours. Maximum 10 minutes. But it's fascinating that he hasn't tried like his arm, his leg, his belly, his other bit. It's basically his left pit right now. Any thoughts on your Night Lords paint scheme? You see, I thought about Night Lords. Now, there's 2 ways. I went on the internet to check out some YouTube channels about how to do Night Lords. You'd think some legions, there's like a unified... The internet has come together to say, this is how you paint them. And there's a couple of ways to paint most legions. This is the Golden Demon, you're going to win awards way to paint them, or this is the quick way to paint them. And I'm looking for the quick ways to paint them. As soon as I click on a video and it says, hi, we're going to paint Night Lords. First you get your airbrush. It's like, no, show me how to do it with the paint and the brush. That's what I need. So there's 2 ways. And then one is spray them black, paint them Night Lords blue, pick out your details, null and oil them, and then work up from there. That's a long time. It makes them perfect, but that's a long time. The way I was thinking of doing was spraying them a crag blue. Pick out my details, null and oil them, so the Macragge blue goes down to a dark blue, Night Lord's blue, and then not really highlighting the Macragge blue, except on the really highest areas, like along the top of a helmet, along the thing on the, just leaving it that dark blue, and then highlighting the top areas Cantor blue, because all the Night Lords videos say you start off with Night Lords blue and then highlight Cantor blue. And that would speed up the process. Spray blue, pick out your silvers, pick out your pouches, pick out your grenades, null it, highlight the top area, and then do the other bits well. And then the lightning is a problem for tomorrow's winters as far as I'm concerned. That's what I'm thinking of doing. But because it's a whole project thing, I'll probably do some test models beforehand. I'll probably do it the Citadel way, and then I'll probably do it the spray blue way. And there's no contrast way that I can find on the internet. No contrast way, unless you guys have got any secrets that you could tell me. But I can't find any contrast ways. But that's the way I'm thinking about doing it. Where are we? Peachy Peach for a quick go to paint Night Lords. I could, but I don't know him. What do you want for the Emperor's Children unit-wise? Noise Marines and some Palatine Blades are the ones that we need in 40k. So some shooty ones, some choppy ones. But I would like it if the Emperor's Children was more supported than, say, the World Eaters release, because the World Eaters release didn't get any demon engines. They got pre-existing demon engines from the Chaos Space Marine book, Fiends, Land Raiders and things like that. But the Death Guard got some engines, and the Thousand Suns have that Mutalith Vortex Beast. So it'd be nice if the Emperor's Children, as well as some Palatine Blades and some shooty ones, also had an engine of some kind, like a Mephitic Blight Hauler, like a Plague Burst Crawler, like a Plague Drone, one of those Nurgly drones. It'd be nice if they have one of their own unique engines along with those two units, and then give them some stuff from the Chaos Space Marine book as well. And then the Codex will feel quite fluffed, as well as Fulgrim, obviously. They could do more, because Slanesh unique Terminators are a thing, and Slanesh is supposed to be quick, right? They're supposed to be quick. So things on speeders or discs, or sorcerers on fast things. Sounds like a really great idea, and close to how I did my Night Lords. The problem was that Night Lords blue over black is so dark it's almost a wasted step. Yeah. Well, in Midnight Clad, it's supposed to be a dark blue. Night Lord's blue over black being a dark blue. I was wondering if you do Night Lord's blue over black and then null and oil it, whether that's like a wasted step, whether it just feels black anyway, particularly if you're highlighting up Cantor blue from there. Maybe no null. Maybe it is the just layer method. So start off with black, then go Night Lords, then go Cantor, and maybe the only null and oil you do is on your weapons, on your blades, on your bolt guns, things like that. Maybe. I don't. I'm going to have to... It should be really easy to do, and I'm going to find the easiest, quickest way to do it, just like my Necrons, just like my Raven Guard, just like my Iron Hands. We're not trying to get Golden Demon standard here. We're trying to paint a Legion, and I want about 6,000 points worth of Legion by the end of 2025, or hopefully part way through 2025. There's a few other things that I want to work on before I jump on my Night Lords. Like these guys. I stuck some extra scarabs on the bases as well and everything. Like these guys I want to do. I want to add to the Emperor's Children before I start on the Night Lords as well. I've got Fulgrim sat over there. I never did Fulgrim the Primarch, and I need to do some fast things for them as well. And I want to add these. And then there's some Imperial Guard that I'm going to be adding. I need to add to my Imperial Guard and play them as Traitor Guard, because the new Guard Codex is coming. We need Phoenix Guard too, I know. What's the darkest contrast blue? I wonder what would work with a white over purple. No, see, yeah, there's things you can do with a dark yeah, no. All of the things that you're saying there, Sasha, they're words, but no. I mean, what would work with a white over blue? We're not gonna do something over a thing or a thing. We're gonna go with blues and blacks. This is how we paint, speed paint army effectively. Night Lords, that's the plan. I actually want to make a diorama of Raldoron from Lost in the Dam. Just nice. That'd be good. Nice little diorama. That'd be nice. Put some pictures in the Discord when you're done. Levadon is the darkest contrast blue. It works. Again, all airbrush. We're not airbrushing, Sasha. We're not airbrushing. Okay? I've been on the interwebs to find ways to paint Night Lords. And if they say what you need to do is pick up this airbrush, click off. And if they say what you need to do is mix this with it, click off. Because there's lots of different painting tutorials out there about how to do it and how to do it effectively and how to make it look really pretty. I want a tutorial which tells me this is the paint, this is the brush, use these two implements to put that on your model. Do it that way. That's what I want to learn. The most we're going to be doing is dry brushing. I can't edge highlight. My eye is knackered. I can't edge highlight anymore. Can't do any precision work. It's washes and dry brushes all the way. Why is airbrush nothing like an air guitar? I don't know why is an airbrush nothing like an air guitar. This better be a good joke-free radio Armageddon. Why is an airbrush nothing like an air guitar? Airbrushes remove edge highlight in my king. No, you see, Airbrush. I've tried airbrushes. I've tried airbrushes in this long career. And some people are really good with the airbrushes and they can make them sing. Me, I'm not one of those people. The best I could do with the airbrushes is some airbrushing on the vehicles and things. But I'm not an airbrush guy. I'm not. And I caps off to anyone who can do the airbrush properly. The maintenance is a pain in the ass. What? Yes, the maintenance of an airbrush is a pain in the ass. A number of times I clogged it, and then you put in the thing and stuff like that, and you need to do it properly. You need a mask and an extract booth. So in my little room, I've got to have an extract booth and a thing and and if I set all that up, look, he wouldn't be very happy about it, would he? With it in the background. And he is the king that rules this house. No doors shall remain barred. I can't upset the king. Joke. Both require imagination. See, yes. So you did the thing. What's the difference between an airbrush and an air guitar? And yes, they both. The jokes require imagination. Both of those. It's not funny. I wasn't. I also paint without an airbrush. I paint without an airbrush. I do. For what you're talking about, airbrushes are first billionaires, not mailmen. I steal my wife's cosmetic brushes. I did it I think it was in the Raven Guard video, and I think I did it in the basing videos as well. How to paint black, Raven Guard. Excellent video, should I say. The best tutorial on how to paint black on the whole of the internet. I am a legend. And then I did it on the basing one as well. These things, you can get a pack of these for like $5. I got 2 of them and they're pink and everything. They are brilliant. Brilliant for dry brushing your things like that. Brilliant for dry brushing your things like that. Brilliant for it. Highly recommend. Hello, Aox. Hi, Andy. Hi. Why would you get an airbrush? You don't have enough air. You need a lot of air with the airbrush. Where are you getting all the air from? Isn't that unenvironmental? Sucking all the air out of the air? That means the air is minus the amount of air. If you pull all that air out of the air, if everyone in the hobby used airbrushes, there'd be like 20% less air on Earth, and it would probably start affecting bees or something. I don't know. Anyway, let's have a sip, guys. Let's have a sip. Coffee. Bit late at night for a coffee, but we're having a sip. I was doing the taxes earlier on. It was a goddamn nightmare. But we're in the new year. We have plans for the Raven. No, the Night Lords. We'll get to the Night Lords, okay? Chat, we'll get to the Night Lords. Gonna do the Necrons first. Gonna do a couple of games with the Star Shatter Arsenal. I do like playing with the Necrons because they're quite... One of the things I figured the other day, what's that? Don't use black primer for Night Lords. Panzer Grey primer is dark but just light enough to Cantor blue, strong base, then Night Lords blue on top. Winner. Right. Know the air in your head. Yes. Don't use black primer for Night Lords. Panzer Grey primer for Night Lords. I'll write that down. We will be checking it out. Where's my pad? Where's my sticky? It's over there. Panzer Grey. Panzer Grey? Is that a Vallejo one or something? Where's Panzer Grey from? Panzer Grey on Night Lords. I've written it down. Black is too severe. Vallejo Panzer Grey. Vallejo are still in a trade dispute with their employees because they don't pay them enough money. They were on strike for over a month. I don't know if they're still on strike now. I know the trade dispute isn't entirely settled. So one wonders what kind of company Vallejo is. Should we care? Most of our clothes are bought by people that make them, 8-year-olds in Malaysia that glued their hands together, right? That's how the West is ran. Suicide nets off of chocolate factory buildings and things in China. This is how the West is. It's the sad truth of our reality. Except for Nottingham, they make the miniatures, and there's a lot of people there that glue their hands together. And I haven't seen a suicide net around Nottingham yet, so they must be paying them lots and lots of money. Any similar or alternative? Thanks for the ideas, Nosh. Thanks. I've written it down. And then I'll check that out when we get to Night Lords. I've got to start on some other stuff, though. They were in talks and they won. Okay, cool. So the Vallejo thing has come to it's come to a conclusion. It's good. Good. Yes. Before we do the Night Lords, we've got the Necrons to do and we've got some Imperial Guard to do, because I don't know if you know what I know, but I know the Krieg are coming. I know the Imperial Guard are coming. Are we excited for the Imperial Guard? I'm still having trouble getting a load of Vallejo prop right. We don't need suicide net in Nottingham's. We have canals and rivers. Yeah. Nottingham's actually quite a nice place to hang out. Well, mind you, as soon as you leave Swindon, you go anywhere else. Good evening, Tasanara from Japan. As soon as you leave Swindon, anywhere's nicer than this. So, Black Library preview next week. Well, they've said that there is Deathcore Krieg coming out. Heavy gas mask noises intensifies. Thank you, Mega 9. Games Workshop bonuses don't go to the event teams, only full-time staff. Yes, that's always been the case. Yes, if you're a full-time staffer at Games Workshop, they're bonuses. But the thing is, if you're a full-timer at Games Workshop, actually part-time in the shops also get it as well. The Saturday, Sunday workers get it in the shops. But everyone, the people who only work a couple of times a year here or there, the ones that don't work at an event, and then that's it. Basically, if you're on the Games Workshop payroll, either part-time, full-time, they do pay bonuses to everyone on that role, just not event staff and consultants and things like that. Which is pretty weird for a UK company. I mean, most UK companies, and I've worked for a few, if they make more money one year, the bonuses certainly don't roll down to the people on the shop floor or the Saturday workers who are on the tills. The fact that Games Workshop do that is very unique. And very unique. Hello, Soul Hunter. Our boy Lucius next week as well. Do we think so? I know the death... See, look, they're not going to release Emperor's Children around the same time as they do Deathcore. Events are the hype team, though. Events are the hype team for a percentage of people who do events. I mean, yeah, sure, you could say, yeah, the events team, yeah. You could. I mean, I don't... Should you pay it once you've started paying it to everyone, including the Saturday cleaners that come in? Should you pay it to the events team as well? Shoulda, coulda, woulda. Yes. Maybe to make it fairer, they should stop bonuses for everyone from the top to the bottom and no bonuses. And just pay dividends. But I don't know. I don't know how it should work. Big company. Should they pay bonuses to the events team? This is a deep filler. So if you've got an event coming up and you're thinking about being an events member for an event, maybe you should not. I don't know. Games Workshop pays. Evening, keep it rusty. I don't know what dark corner we went in there. We've been talking about bonuses and taxes and pay this evening. It's been horrible. Nets are cheaper. Exactly. Let people throw themselves off of roofs into nets. Nets are cheaper than paying out bonuses. And then they could chop up the bodies and grind them all down and sell them off as corpse starch for us. And we'd eat authentic Nottingham Games Workshop corpse starch sold back to the public. Some coffee. Corpse starch. I said, yeah. What was he talking about? Yes. So Empress Children stuff. A new March idea. Andy H, thank you for gifting a membership. Thank you for gifting the first membership of 2025. The first membership of this stream. Thank you for your support. I appreciate you. Hello, Raphael. If they don't get bonuses, we can set up a tip jar. Oh dear. They need bonuses, to be fair, because they are chronic underpayers. That's quite famous. Let's stop talking about payments and taxes and things. New expansion. The new expansion at Nottingham, they're building Factory 5, which they say will increase their capacity by 33%. And Factory 5, they aim to have it running by January 2026. So all of this year, they're going to be building that one. That is on the Willow Road site. And then on the opposite side of Willow Road, there's a building that they currently own. And they're turning that into their paint processing plant. Because right now, most of their paints they get from a paint manufacturer. There's some that they do on site, but most of the contrast, I think, or the layer, they do some on site themselves. But most of the paints they get from a third party source. And they want to bring that on site. So they're going to be building a factory for that as well to help keep the paint costs down in the longer term. So there's 2 expansions going on, including car park changes and things like that. I know, Horus Heresy, does this mean they'll start to be... This is the thing. They can't keep up. Most of the Horus Heresy range, like a good 75% of the Horus Heresy range is out of stock at any one time. They can't keep up. Old World, of the stuff that they've got in stock, or that's actually on their website, a good 30% of that is out of stock at any one time. And then the 40k stuff, it's we know what it's like. There's a box and then it's gone, and then you haven't been able to get like Lima Russ tanks forever. You know what I mean? They are the biggest purchaser. Games Workshop is the biggest purchaser of incense in the UK. Absolutely. They'll just make 33% more primarily tenants. It's interesting, isn't it? Because they've got 4 other factories, but this one other factory they think will increase capacity by 33%. It's not gonna, because that's what businesses say. That, oh, it's going to increase it by 33%. It'll increase it by 30% or 25% or something like that. But it's going to clearly be a more modern factory that chucks out a lot more stuff. And they need to keep up with the amount of models they're shifting, because they're out of stock all the time. Age of Darkness box set is out in the UK. There we go. It shouldn't... How can you have one of the core boxes, like the Age of Darkness box set, out? It shouldn't be out. That's one of the things that should always be available. It's like the starter box. You should have that one available all the time. Can't keep up with the 30k. I thought that's why they stopped giving them 40k rules. It's 30k has been a massive success for them. It's been massive. It's outselling AOS. According to all the spoken to 3 separate shop owners, people who own shops in the UK, and all 3 of them confirmed that it outsells AOS. Well, 2 of them confirmed that it outsold AOS by a lot, and the third one said maybe, but the other 2 said, yeah, definitely outsold by a lot. And that's the same thing that I'm hearing through my sources. It turns out people like Space Marines. It turns out if you make a whole new game system and sell everyone their Land Raiders and their Rhinos and their things again, everyone will buy their Land Raiders and their Rhinos and things again. I know I have. I got like 5-6 Legions back there that I didn't own 2 years ago because it came out in plastic. They can't keep up. We'll wait and see what happens in 3rd edition, but right now they can't keep up. I'm seeing a lot of people get into 40k via Kill Team. That's exactly what should happen. They should have Kill Team as a nice intro point for new people. Skirmish level games, Kill Teams, Blood Bowls, and things like that. And then you go up to Combat Patrol. Right, I've done my Kill Team. That was quite nice. Then they go up to Combat Patrol, and then they go up to 40k. That scaling thing. And let's face it, like a couple of editions back, they didn't have that scaling thing, that ladder, for people to climb up into plastic crack addiction. But they've got it now. They've got it now. A giant ladder of doom. Are you excited by the new Thanatar Calyx? Yes. I got 2 already. So I don't know if I'll be adding a 3rd. Anything in plastic for Mechanicum is very good. Zone Mortalis box sets without terrain would be fantastic. Entry point for 30k. Could be, yes. Solo element, that's bringing people in. Accessibility is the key, isn't it? I mean, you got 40, what is it? Space Marine 2, big success. Secret Level, Episode 5, big success. So there's lots of mainstream Space Marine tickles out there right now. And so Games Workshop, yes. And the way to capitalize on that is people come in and they buy their boxes, and they should start off on Kill Team. People from the outside should start like, oh, I saw that was really exciting. I'm going to buy some Night Lords, or I'm going to buy some Space Marines, or I'm going to buy X. They're going to buy some Kill Team stuff based on the exposure, and then they're going to paint them badly. And then they're going to start painting better, and then they're going to start fighting with the Kill Team. So then they just start collecting, because most of us, all of us, we're collectors and painters first before we even play. And that Kill Team level, essential. Getting that right, essential. Getting Combat Patrol right, essential. Maybe they have, maybe they haven't. But the fact that we've got those layers in there now, which we didn't have years ago, it's good. It's very good. Yeah. Space Marine 2 and Secret Level and Kill Team Solo equals winning formula. Yeah. I couldn't agree more. Some nice little entryway in. Accessibility as well. That's why like contrast paint works quite well as well. They didn't have that before 8th edition. Now that's quite accessible. It's quite easy to do the contrast method. Yeah. So that's good. It's good that they got these things. Our little community is growing. It's growing and growing over time. And then people drop off. And then people come in. And people drop off. And then people come back again. And then people drop off. But overall, their share price, it's up 2,400% on 10 years ago. It's amazing. And should definitely, no financial advice. But if I had a free, like a few £1,000s, I'd probably buy some shares. Sit on them for 10 years. If they go up another 2,000% in 10 years, great. Even if they just go up a bit in 10 years, then they'll probably pay better than the bank, I think. It just seems to be growing and growing. Geeking and nerding is completely allowed now. We're allowed out. We weren't allowed to talk. When I was a young lad, back in school, we were kept in a cage at the bottom of the class, and people would throw us peeled off orange peel. You know, they'd throw us that stuff and say, stay in your box, nerd. That's what would happen back in the day. But these days, they're allowed to run companies and do all sorts of things, nerds and geeks. You're allowed your own YouTube channel. It's amazing. Weren't allowed anything back in the day. I was barely allowed clothes. Best way to get kids off screens, paint them. You'll never get them off the screens, Travis. Never. You never get them off the screens. They love their screens. They love them. Screens is the future. Everyone's going to be on screens. You can have screens here. You can have screens in your ears. You wake up in the morning, hit your head on the screen. Screens are going to be everywhere. As a shop owner, I often hear, I played in 3rd edition and after. Now I want to get back. Yeah, I hear that all the time. We hear it all the time, which is, I hear it all the time. Hey, when did you start 40k? Most people started when they were young, before they met alcohol. And then they meet alcohol and it falls off for a bit. And then they come back after 3rd edition, 5th edition. You get the odd virgin every now and then, the person who doesn't know anything and just starts in this edition, whatever this edition is, 8th edition, 9th edition, 10th. You get them every now and then, but they're quite rare. Most people started and then came back. And then there's a new thing coming around now, which is the people who started before they met alcohol and then came back and then got really upset by X edition or X codex or X something and left again and then came back again. You've got the bouncing babies coming along. That happens quite a bit as well. That's happening more now. It's rare to just get in it and stay in it. That's rare. You got to have, like, if that's you, if you're someone who got in it early or whenever you got in it and you're still in it, if that's you, you're a rare person, because there's so much changes in this hobby. The codexes change, the rules change, everything changes all the time in this hobby. So whatever edition you dived into, The edition you dived into, it ain't like that anymore. It's completely changed. So you got to be in it for the passion project. You got to be in it for the long haul. You got to be in it because you want to paint a Cadian force with 6 chimeras and 4 battle tanks and 100 infantry, and that's what you're putting together. And whatever edition is going, and whatever that you'll play that when it's done. You got to paint a chunk of Necrons because you like those Necrons. You just want to add them to your force, and whatever edition comes around and whatever codex is around by the time they're ready to go, that's what you'll play. You got to be that way minded. Like, I'm building a collection of X because I like X, and nothing that Games Workshop are going to do are going to stop me doing this, because Games Workshop are trying with all their heart to stop you playing that by changing the rules and changing the data sheets and changing the PDFs and changing the points values, and then introducing new things to try and distract your monkey brain. Like, they're trying to make you not do and then it's so much of that going on. People go, no, I'm leaving this. I'm going to go back to beer. And they go back to beer. And that's what happens. But Games Workshop are trying to destroy their own shizzle. And you've got to go, no, Games Workshop, I like 40k, and 40k isn't Games Workshop. Or no, I like Horus Heresy, and Horus Heresy isn't Games Workshop. I like the things you make, but I hate you so much. I hate you with all of my heart. Do you realize how much money you could be making? Do you realize you're talking about global domination with Henry Cavill and all these things? You're talking about one day you will control the world. Do you realize you could have controlled the world already? Do you realize the bombs that you've dropped on and the corpses that you're leaving in your wake, Games Workshop? Do you realize how many small, soft, hanging, juicy fruits there are in front of you right now? But you have no idea of the audience, and no idea of the hobby, and no idea of the product that you're making. And by you, I mean the people at the very top who they're playing golf and snorting cocaine off prostitutes' breasts in some bar in the Philippines. That's what they're doing somewhere. They have no idea. These international jet setters, they're just doing their things. They have no idea about what. There's so much. They could have achieved global domination already, easily. It could have been as big as Pokemon many decades ago, eons ago. It could have been as big as Pokemon back in the 1700s, but they've got no idea. So to hold on to this hobby through these rough shod seas, you've got to be a special kind of person who's like, no, regardless of how much Games Workshop tries to kick me off this horse, I really like my Cadians, and I'm going to build up a 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 point Cadian force. My colour scheme, my thing. I like artillery. I'm putting artillery in it. It's going to have all the artillery, and it's going to be awesome. And my mate Bob might play with me by the time I reach the end of this 3-year product. That's the kind of insanity that you need to be in this wide, wonderful hobby that is the Warhams. And it's nice to know that I'm not alone in this insanity, that I've got plenty of other insane people following me along and joining me along. So let's dive into the chat, dive into the insanity and see where we are. Blood Buffalo, thank you for your $5 donation, the first donation of 2025. You are a legend. I appreciate you. I started because I found a cool looking book. I read around 40 novels before I knew it was even a game years later. Thankfully, after Women in Sports. Yeah. I have spoken to a few people who didn't even know, like you. That's a story. Some people are like you, who don't know about the game and the Warhams and the Little Men's. They don't know about any of that, or the paints. They started off with a book and thinking, this is a cool universe. And then they find out later, 1 minute, there's Little Men's, there's a video game. It's amazing how much all the bits feed into each other these days, because it's grown and grown and grown. But there's so much low-hanging sweet fruit that they could take and they could taste right now. Nom, 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 nom. Ideas for low-hanging sweet fruits, guys. Ideas on how Games Workshop could make billions. Right, I could throw an idea right now. Here's an idea at you: how Games Workshop could make millions. Low-hanging fruit. When you click on the Warhammer page, like go to gamesworkshop.com. Yeah, you go gamesworkshop.com. I'm going to go in there. Here's their new horrible user interface website. But I'll click on the Start Here button. And on the Start Here button, when you click in it, it'll actually have the rules in the Start Here bit. It doesn't have that in there. And it'll actually have a Start Here box. They're not in the Start Here. Look at that, opposable thumbs. That would be a good start. In the Start Here section, having a kill team thing, having a combat patrol thing, having a box thing there, have the rules in there, have all the things that you need to start here in the Start Here section. They're not there. Here's another one that they could make millions and millions. You know, we've got Lords of War. We've got Super Heavies. We've got Titanics for the Necrons. You've got the Tesseract for Obelisks. You've got Titanics for Guard. They've got really big tanks. You've got Titanics for Eldar. You've got really big Wraith things. You've got Titanics like Stompers for Orcs. You've got Titanics for all of these races. Where is the Titanic, the big plastic Super Heavy tank for Space Marines? Where is it? If that dropped... boom, with the next Space Marine Codex, a nice grav floaty tank or one with treads, boom, it's a super heavy tank for the Space Marines. Do you realise how many of them they would sell, particularly if it crossed over to Heresy as well? And because I know they've got big, super chunky resin tanks for Space Marines, but they're resin tanks and they cost you half a kidney. A super heavy tank, a Titanic unit for Space Marines. You realise that all the tournament bros will be taking like, hey, look, I'm taking 3 of these to a tournament. Particularly if the data sheet was like, there's one plastic box set, but it makes 3 different data sheets. Like, here's the one with the really big gun. Here's the one with the artillery piece. Here's the one with the anti-infantry. Someone is going to be breaking like 9 of them along to a tournament. A big plastic super heavy tank. If you collect Space Marines and there's a big plastic super heavy tank and you haven't got it, are you really a Space Marine collector? There's another few million that they can make. Here's another million. I've said this before as well. Why is there not an Emperor of Mankind model? The guy on the chair or the guy with a big sword. I don't care which version. There should be that. If you do the Warhams and you haven't got the Emperor of Mankind, are you really doing the Warhams? Billions. Low-hanging tasty fruit right there. Let's go to the chat. See what low-hanging tasty fruit we have into the chat. I tell you what, this coffee's kicking in. If only they would try and make money off the models instead of the rules. Should please upgrade sprues. Good. Yeah, upgrade sprues. Why isn't there, when you click on the thing, as well as all the models and all the things and all the times, there should be a tab that goes upgrade sprues. Click. Oh, look. Here are all my upgrade sprues. Heresy print on demand books. Yep. Update older sculpts would probably... Right. Free rules. Free rules. I'm down with that. All the rules, all the time, free all the time. You could still pay for the app, which will give you the access to the app where you can click on all the things and the builder and all that. And that's the app. And people will still pay for the app even though the rules are free because they won't want to download a PDF and download a thing and download a thing and download a thing and just have the app in front of you. But all the rules all the time for free. So when you buy a thing, you can use a thing straight away. Free rules. I'm sure they would make a lot of money with free rules. Just a local done, and a lot of you interested in this. We just started a local club, a lot of new interest. Don't get any support from Games Workshop, which is bonkers. I know. Why don't they help? Why isn't there a thing? Why isn't there a code? Why isn't there a, like, hey, you've got a new club going. Here's X% off. Here's some vouchers for your club members. Why don't they have that? Battle mats. They've tried battle mats. There were a couple of battle mats they tried. Also that big plastic thing and the six square thing. They've tried that before, but it's Games Workshop. They weren't very good, and they paid and they charged like this baby battle mat that they tried. And they tried one of them in 8th, and then they tried another one halfway through 8th. It was about half the size of a battle mat. And it was the wrong size, and it cost, this half-size battle mat cost like 50% more than the normal battle mats that you can get from like urbanmats.com or gamemat.eu. They couldn't compete. Liam T, thank you for your 22 months. Appreciate you, brother. I'd drop plastic super heavies for Space Marines with a new Hobby Apocalypse book. New Apocalypse book. Yeah. You could put an enhanced Primarch profile. Yeah, exactly. So the Apocalypse book drops. Boom. And in it, at the same time, Plastic Super Heavies for Space Marines comes out. Plastic big tanks for playing Apocalypse versions of the games with modified Primarch profiles for playing big Apocalypse versions of the games. Epic. Why not? Evening Woodsy. Rumour is it that more tanks thing for a Horus Heresy roadmap is in fact Plastic Super Heavies. Yeah. Well, they've said for the Horus Heresy roadmap, they've said right at the very start that it is their intention to get the entire Horus Heresy range out in plastic. And why they would want to go to Heresy 3.0 before all the models for Heresy 2.0 are released, I will never understand. Just get everything out first. Everything. And then do Heresy 3.0 with a chunk new models. And then Heresy 4.0. And then that's what you need to do. But no, I don't know when Heresy 3.0 is coming out. I'm terrified for it. But they said at the start of Heresy 2.0 that their intention is to get the entire range out in plastic. And the problem that they've run into is they can't keep up with demand. That's why they're releasing like Plastic Mechanicum and Plastic Solar Auxilia, because they know that they will sell less of them than they would if they turned around and dropped. Like I've heard things, there's stuff made, printed, ready, packed, gone. There's stuff that they did, like marks of armor and tanks and kits that they've had ready to go for Heresy since 2.0 came out, but they're not releasing them because they know they don't have enough in stock of them based on previous sales, yada, yada, yada. So that's why Solar Auxilia, and that's why Mechanicum, and that's why I like to keep the Heresy people happy. And I think once Factory 5 is up and running and they can actually make a lot more, because it's been such a massive success. When they can make a lot more, then we're going to see a lot more. And so we're going to get the big tanks. We're going to get the big thing. We're going to get it's all coming. It's all coming. It's just when. I used to work in logistics. They're successful in spite of how poor their actual internal structure. I know. They are successful in spite of themselves because the product they make is so damn cool. And the fact that, and the books and the video games, and it all feeds. There's this whole ecosystem that they've developed over very, very many years. And it's cool. But yeah, the company have got no idea because it's a monopoly and they've got no real competition from any angle. So there's no one else out there who are like, hey, if you did it this way, you might make more money. There's none of that. They haven't got any of that. They haven't got a clue. Hi, John. Increase subscription costs for Warhammer Plus, but get all codexes. Do a better version with Wikipedia. I think all rules should be. If I was in charge of Warhammer, I'd put all the rules out for free. All the rules. I'd say that the app you would have to pay for. Warhammer Plus you'd have to pay for. But the rules for all the game systems, free. Maybe not for the specialist games, actually. The ones you can get out of a box, but free. And then the codexes I would still release, and the other books I would still release, but the codexes and the other books wouldn't have any rules in. So you get a book like this. But it'd be much thicker, and there wouldn't be any rules in it. And this would only come out every 5 or 10 years. And instead of all the rules, it would have a proper history of the Necrons and some really nice maps in it, and one of those little tags that hangs out the bottom, and some painting guides and some missions, some unique missions that you can play when you're playing Necrons. Like if you collected Necrons and you didn't have your nice velvet book with the tag hanging out the bottom, which is 2 or 3 times the size. If you didn't, you weren't a proper Necron player. And it would be such an item that doesn't change. Also, the reason for getting it is because sometimes you get a codex, and then in 6 months' time, you might as well burn the codex. Imperial Guard players, anyone from 9th edition? How long was their codex valid for? Was it like 4 months? World Eaters players from 9th edition, was it 6 months? Their codex came out, and 6 months later, dead. It's only valid. It's crazy. But if you bought something like this without any rules in it, it could be valid for 5. It could be valid for a chunk of time with lovely maps. with lovely diagrams. You know, like the old Imperial Armor books, chonky books I'm talking about. Nice books in it. It looked pretty. That's what I would do, and all the rules would be free online or in the app. Paywall detachments are a thing. Even if they did the core rules free, they could still do the big thick campaign books like they do for Horus Heresy. Actually give a story and immersion with each edition. Yeah. Blood Buffalo, thanks for the £2, mate. Appreciate you. Sell the Emperor's Tarot. Cool art. Gilded cards. Yes. That's a great idea. Thank you for your donation. The Emperor's Tarot. They talk about it all the time. And we've got those Open War cards and those Pariah Nexus cards and the Leviathan card. Say a deck came out called the Emperor's Tarot. It doesn't have to be a game. It doesn't have to have any rules. It's just proper gilded cards, like he says. The Emperor's Tarot. £20 for a box or something. Be gorgeous. Why not? And then they could do the limited edition one in a tin box with the thing and sell it for $4,000. Sell the Empress Tarot. That's a good idea. They could make money on that. Back they used to do merch. I've got like a bolt gun shell around a neck on a piece of cord that I got from Games Workshop back in the day, like 6th edition or something. They used to sell some merch, like pin badges. You could buy like the Tanith cap badge. You could buy a bunch of pin badges for your book, for your jackets and things. They don't do that anymore. You can still buy these things by going on the internet and spending thousands of pounds. You can do that. Error connection. YouTube is freaking out, people. Dark Mechanicum. I look forward to Dark Mechanicum. Are you still here? Even if they did the core rules. Hello from Vancouver, Alec. Settle for a plastic warhound. So would I. Well, you're still here. Sorry, my thing started freaking. It started going all skibbity-doo-dash. You know what I mean? But we're here. No issue. You're good. Am I? I'm not really. I'm quite bad at most things. I could do the Warhammers okay, but pretty much anything else, pretty bad at it. Would like javelins not to be... Yeah, I know. Don't talk to me about javelins. I've bought... How many have I brought? I bought 9. I've got 6 in the Raven Guard and 3 for... I gave to Steve, not Rob in the end. Javelins, expensive, very expensive, auto-include, in Heresy, pretty much. I mean, they're one of the strongest... Are they? They've got the Achilles. If you touch them in melee, they fall over. Javelins... do have an Achilles, but they are so good in Heresy. Hi, Weeby Postmuma. You're acceptable. We have low standards. Thanks. Oh dear. Yeah, javelins are good in Heresy. Javelins very good. It's just they can't keep up with the Heresy demand. They literally can't keep up. What was I talking about? I feel like I ranted for a bit there. Where were we, guys? What was going on? Krieg. Did we mention the Krieg? I'm looking forward to a bit of Krieg. Who doesn't like gas mask? Heavy gas mask noises intensifies. We're looking forward to the Krieg. The new Guard Codex coming soon. We're looking forward to that. That was what I was saying earlier on. We can't have all the Emperor's Children stuff come out because they also teased over the Christmas period Eldar stuff. So we know Krieg stuff is coming. We know Eldar stuff is coming. They teased them. And now they're teasing some Emperor's Children stuff. And the Emperor's Children will not come out in the middle of all of that. They won't. They'll come out after all of that. Or they're teasing really early and it's not going to come out for 6 months or something. It's not going to be out for a while. But the Emperor's Children stuff looks exciting. I recently got a good tablet and now exclusively use the app. Why no Salamander's Codex? Because you're not allowed nice things. Salamander players, no. No Salamander Codex for you. We had a Salamander's Codex a bit in 8th and 9th. A bit. And then never again. How do you think painting will affect the hobby? Printing will affect the hobby. You mean 3D printing? Good evening. Good evening, the Dagda. Final Fantasy 40k, love it. Yeah, I mean, Jackson and Livingstone did choose your adventure books back in the day. This is how I think printing will affect the hobby. I've said this story before, so I'll try and get as quick as I can. I've got a couple of friends who are really into cars. One's a mechanic, works for Honda, blah, blah, blah. 3D printing came along before it came to us in this world. And we started talking to our friends who had 3D printers and said, hey, can you print me out a bunch of charnable weapons? Because I can't actually buy these from Games Workshop and I don't have a 3D printer. And they said, sure, we'll print you out a bunch of charnable weapons. And now you have charnable weapons. Before we got there, and before 3D printing was able to print something as tiny as these, 3D printing came through the used car market and the car buff market like a tornado. Because there's loads of car people out there who want to print this thing off and stick it on their bonnet and print this thing off and stick it on their bonnet or print a thing off and stick it on, all the things. And so Mercedes and BMW and Saab and all these people who... Car manufacturers make a lot of money on the after-sales parts, the bits that people would stick on their cars. And there's a whole industry of companies out there that buy bits that stick on your car, or the knob that you put on your gear stick. It's got to be this type of knob, not... It blasted through there like a hurricane, and it took about 25% of the sales away overall, but didn't kill it because people still wanted the official Mercedes knob, even though that one might cost 200 quid and you could print it out for a £5, and no one would know the difference, that it is not it looks exactly the same. It is exactly the same, but because you could print the big things, big chunky things, before 3D printing got down to this level. So based on that, I think that's the effect that 3D printing will have on the miniature industry, which is, it is going to blast through. It is going to take a bunch of sales away, but people still want to own the plastic Games Workshop thing and not just 3D print everything out. The other thing I want to say, so that it is going to take some money away, obviously, but it ain't going to kill them based on other industries. That's my initial thing. That's what I reckon. However, having said that, Games Workshop are not helping. The fact that there is a whole chunk of their range that you cannot buy, and that the only way to get certain miniatures now is either through pirating, sailing the high seas, and attacking other ships with a parrot on your shoulder and grabbing their miniatures, pirating, I think that's what that is, or printing, or going on the eBay. The fact that there is a bunch of their range right now that you cannot get is crazy, and that's why they're building another factory. So they're hastening the people. I don't think the 3D printing, exact science, tiny little 3D printer markets that we see all the adverts for all the time, I don't think it would be as big as it is if it wasn't for Games Workshop. I think Games Workshop has a lot to answer for creating the 3D printing industry that we see now on a miniature scale. I think it's grown to such a degree partly because of what they've been doing. And this is the other thing. Once someone has got a 3D printer, you're not just losing that sale. You're losing the next sale and the next sale and the next sale. Once someone's got a 3D printer, they're not just printing out that thing that they want that they can't get. They'll get the file for the other thing and the file for the other thing. And then they'll get in contact with their mate and say, hey, you can't get in hold of any charnable blades. Do you want me to print you out a bunch of charnable blades so you can use them on your things? And you'll say, yes, please, because Games Workshop don't supply charnable blades, and I'd love a bunch of charnable blades. Even the close combat weapon sprue that they say is coming, that they announced, 6 months ago, we still haven't seen the close combat weapon sprue. It's not out. I want the close combat weapon sprue, even though it doesn't have I think it's got some charnable blades on it. I want to buy 4 of them. Down there, I've got 2 of the Games Workshop official gun sprues, the ones that have the plasmas, the melters, the flamers and things. And I've got 1 of the heavy weapon sprues, which has the las cannons and the auto cannons. And that I've bought the boxes with the extra sprues to put on my dudes. I didn't talk to my 3D printer friends and say, hey, can you print those out for me? So, because I want the official Games Workshop stuff. But I don't know why. Particularly when I know some 3D printer guys who, you look at 25% of their army is 3D printed out. But yeah, here we are. Here I am spending all this money and waiting and hoping that at some point in the future, maybe in my lifetime, I'll be able to buy some of the products that Games Workshop say they make and that they don't, that they will actually sell them to me so I can have them. 3D printing is coming. 3D printing is here, and Games Workshop have helped it come along. Will it kill the company? No. Will it hurt the company? Yes. Do they care? I don't think so. I don't think they care. Back to the chat. I wish they'd sell their own STL files. Yeah. Why don't they do that? Why? Why can't you buy Games Workshop STL files? Maybe that will be coming in the future. Games Workshop need to produce official Games Workshop STLs. Yeah. I have a question of the Horus Heresy. Do I need to read the novels? Like The Unburdened or The Honoured? No. You don't have to read those novels. To play the Horus Heresy, you don't need to read any novels at all. It's just to play 40k, you don't need to read any novels. To play Horus Heresy, you don't need to read any novels. If you play 40k, will reading some novels help? Does it make it better? Yes. If you really like Blood Angels, read some Blood Angel stuff. If you really like some Necron stuff, read the Infinite and the Divine. Yes, it helps. If you want to, yes, reading the Heresy will help you enjoy the Heresy. It just feeds into each other. Some more terrain would be nice. Yeah, Games Workshop makes some terrain. That would be good. They've dabbled. They do that. Some of their terrain sets are now made for order again, right? Made for order terrain sets. That's another thing they could do. They could expand their made for order range because they can't keep up with the main stuff. So the stuff that they definitely know that they need to make made for order, they could. There's all sorts of things. Low hanging fruit, juicy fruit. Hey Winters, are there any good Iron Warrior books you would recommend? Not really. The best one is from the Horus Heresy, and it's Angel Exterminatus. Is probably, I mean, even Perturabo's Primarch novel isn't great. So if you've done the Horus Heresy, make sure you do Angel Exterminatus. If you're not doing the Heresy at all, then probably don't get Angel Exterminatus. If you are thinking about doing the Heresy, then do the first 4 books, do the last books, the Solar War, and do Angel Exterminatus. That's probably the best Iron Warriors book out there. The Iron Warriors cookbook. They like a bit of iron. The Iron Warriors cookbook, using lots of iron. I like the first wall. Lots of Iron Warriors moments. Yeah, Solar, that's again Heresy. Storm of Iron, I've heard, is pretty good. Siege of Terror Book 3. Yeah, like I said, you need to... The best Iron Warriors books are in the Heresy. Do the first one. You can't just do a book in the Heresy. So do the first 4. Do the Solar War. Solar War has a lot of Iron Warriors in. My eyes. Where are we? Storm of Iron by Graham McNeill. Okay, so Storm of Iron. I have not read Storm of Iron by Graham McNeill. Graham McNeill was one of my favourite authors. Why don't you run the monolith no more? Because it's 400 points. It was 350, and then they made it 400 points. It's a 50-point upgrade. It used to be 700 points for 2 of them. And now it's 800 points for 2 of them. Do you realise how much Necrons that leaves you with? Not many. They're basically that points that they blasted it into oblivion. They've made it the cost of an Imperial Knight, and it's not as good, or a Chaos Knight. They've made it Knight prices, but it can't take on a Knight. It can shoot a bit at a Knight and hurt a Knight, but Knights can really kill it with some of their guns, and can really kill it by walking up and dinking it. So yeah, it shouldn't be Knight costs. The reason why it's that cost is because of Hypercrypt Necrons. It should be that amount in a Hypercrypt Necron list. It shouldn't be that amount in any other list. It should be about 350. No Fear is incredible. No Fear is incredible. Betrayer, No Fear, two of the best books in the Heresy. I just listened to No Fear again, actually. I'm doing Eisenhorn right now. I've read Eisenhorn, Ravener, Beckwin a lot. Eisenhorn is probably the series that Eisenhorn Ravener is the series probably I've read the most, like half a dozen times, a good 6-7 times I've read them, and I'm doing them on Audible for the first time. And I literally just finished Eisenhorn earlier while I was painting my Tomb Blades, and now I'm on to Eisenhorn Malleus, the second one. And but before I started this, because dive into the audio series of Eisenhorn, Ravener, Beckwin, I did No Fear again. I just did it again on the audiobook again. It's just so good. It's one of the best books. Where are we? Scotty 6 chips. Scotty 6 chips. Boy oh boy, I agree with dynamic points values based on the chosen detachment, but I can only imagine the ways James Workshop could do that really poorly. Yeah, are we going to see in 10th edition points with detachments? So some detachments 0 points, some detachments you pay 50 points, 100 points if you want a certain detachment. That would help balance things, right? Because they're moving the points around for certain units because of how those units perform in certain detachments, in certain lists at the top end of tournaments. But you put those units in other lists, in other detachments, and they're definitely not worth 50 points, they're worth 30 points. Then it only works in the thing. So maybe points for detachments in 11th edition would help. But then it's games where it horrifies me to think how much they could screw that up. It might fix, and I suspect it'll fix an issue, but there'll be 3 other issues that pop up beforehand with it. That's what I expect will probably happen, probably. So I wouldn't, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Instead, I don't know, just some of the detachments are broken. Some of the detachments are clearly, I mean, the Orcs thing, they fixed it really quickly. Give them all a 5 up invulnerable save all the time, or the Bully Boys thing with a 4 up feel no pain twice. Some of them, when you read them, you're like, this is a bit broken. It would help if they employed people who played the game to write the rules. Then they'd be able to tell whether they're broken or not just by reading them, like we do. We read them and we go, that's a bit broken. You can tell, right? Rain back on the... Anyway, right. How did you meet the Hobby Apocalypse fellas? It was in a bar in Pyongyang. We were all playing Naked Twister. There was a blow-up swimming pool in this bar filled with baked beans. And you could jump in it, in this blow-up inflatable pool, and pay Twister in it with all the baked beans, and it was really hilarious. That's how we met. Pyongyang. What about the beautiful obelisk I bought by mistake? Turn it into a Tesseract vault instead. It's lovely. I mean, I've got a Tesseract vault. Where is it? It's around somewhere. But yeah, it's like 500 points. What about the beautiful... love that game last Sunday. Thank you both. Thank you, Tinky Yuku. Yeah. Last Sunday was a good game. I did like the board with all the aeroplanes on the board. The Horus Heresy game with the aeroplanes and the Raven Guard and the Imperialist Militia. I'm hoping you're like, yeah. JR, Sultan knows he had 3 detachments. Who won? What are you talking about? Yeah. I don't know what you're talking about, JR, but thanks. I've ranted. We've ranted. Where are we? Dear Kung Fu Goddess of Rapture. Exclude units from detachments. Exclude units from detachments. Want to play Sneaky Marines? No vehicles for you. Want to play Walking Dead? Tied. That is one way to do it. You could exclude units from detachments. Nice. Yeah, that might balance it better, because some of the exploits we see are because certain units are in detachments that shouldn't really be in that detachment. So you're doing the stealthy one where everyone gets stealth and everyone gets cover if you're more than 12 inches away, the Raven Guard one in the book. Then you're not bringing any land raiders. You're not bringing any of those big tanks that you want the stealth for in the backfield doing the thing. Yeah, they're not down with excluding stuff, Games Workshop, but that sounds interesting. The mole drills. Yes, the mole drills. It was lovely. Technically, the list wasn't 100% legal for Horus Heresy, that subterranean assault list. But we've tried. In the first game and the second game against his militia, it's impossible. Almost impossible. It's not impossible, but it's very, very hard to build an Imperialis militia using the Force organization slot for Marines and for Custodes, because it doesn't fit well. So by the time we come around to the third mission, I was like, just bring a list. Just bring a list. Because the first one and the second one, we were wrestling with that Python to get it in that box. It's squeezy, coily thing, and try and get it in the Force Org box. So we tried to stick close to what it... But it doesn't fit. Militia, no. You just got to... When you go with militia, it's playing on very, very hard mode against Marines as well. So I think militia's supposed to be fun. So bring whatever you want. You're going to need it. Bring all the big tanks if you want to. And fire them all the way across the board if you want to. You're going to need it if you're playing militia against Space Marines. So yeah, when it comes to that, just try and have fun. I think James is now playing... I was talking to him earlier on. He's played like 13, 14 games of Imperialis Militia now, and he's won 1. Bring what you want, so long as it looks cool. With all the drills coming up underground and all that, it was such a cool fight. It looked really good. Evening, Baggies Bilbo 4. What's that? The board was great. It was. The board was great. Yes. Sasha is here. Yes. Warhammer Teen has joined me. Say hi, Winters. Hi, Winters. Tavis Bots, hi. Winters, what army has had the longest time on the shelf? The 13th. My Space Marines. For the longest time, I only had... So, first and second edition I collected, and I didn't play. I was very, very young. And I had all sorts of different models and things. Third edition, the collection got a bit larger. End of fourth edition started playing. And that was the 13th, my Space Marine chapter. Back in first edition, second edition, I was playing Epic and Titanicus. Well, Titanicus, then Epic, and Space Marine, and Hero Quest, and Talisman, and all of those other games. Lots of Warhammer Fantasy roleplay, Death on the Reich, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, didn't get an army to play. And we tried playing Rogue Trader and second edition. Back then, an army used to be a Rhino, a couple of squads, and a Dreadnought. That was your 2,000 point army. And we tried playing with a couple of rules here or there. And we made up our own rules when we were a kid. But yeah, it didn't start playing. Yeah, Space Marines first. And I painted them blue because in my mind, that was the colour that Space Marines were. Me and my buddies are getting to Horus Heresy. Really like Solar Auxilia. Is the army box set a decent start? Yes, but you need like 3 of them. Look, Heresy is hard mode. Solar Auxiliary is hard mode. If you want to get into Heresy, the rule system around Heresy is just like Old World and Heresy are trying to bring the narrative to life. They're saying, okay, here's the battlefield, here are the armies, let's make some rules that show you what those things do in real life, so to speak. 40k AOS isn't so much like that. 40k and AOS is like half war game, half strategy game with stratagems and how do I kill that thing? How do I kill that thing? How do I get behind there and score my points? That's what AOS and 40k is now, which is fine. It's good. It's fun, particularly if you lean into it. Horus Heresy in Old World is like, what would happen if I stuck a goblin on this catapult and threw it across the battlefield? What are the rules do I need to put in place to make that sing? So the rules are written with the narrative in mind. So with that in mind, if you want to start in Horus Heresy, then playing with Mechanicum and Solar Auxilia, playing anything non-transhuman in that setting is hard mode. They will struggle to routinely beat most Space Marine legions unless you're really good or bring a really strong list. Because to fight transhumans, you're going to need to be a really good general and have a really strong detachment that is rocking against them. And then Custodes is playing on easy mode, and Knights are playing on easy mode. You can run around with a couple of Knights. Now, the differences aren't great, but they are there. So if you want to rock Solar Auxilia against transhumans, does the box set you up well and good? Yes, but what you need with Guard is you need a lot of them. The way you can beat your transhumans is, if you want to play Solar Auxilia well, you want 100+ Solar Auxilia. You want the bodies. That's something transhumans can't do. What you can do with transhumans is trap them in place. What you can do is swarm across the board and stop some of the transhumans getting to where you want them to be, because they've got to dig their way through 50 guardsmen. So if you do Solar Auxilia well, 160 guardsmen, start there. You want to find as much AP2 and as AP1 as you can, because transhuman, to burn through their armor. So you want to try and find as much plasma as you can. Command squads with plasma in it, that's good. They don't sell these right now, Games Workshop. You want them. And tanks. You want your tanks. And air power, your aircraft. You want them. So, yes. Otherwise, if you want to collect Solar Auxilia, then start. That's if you want to win. That's if you want to reliably win most of the time. There's strong ways to do it. However, having said that, Heresy, if I was doing it, I would think of a project, think of something that you want to bring to life. That's what I did with my Iron Hands. That's what I did with my Raven Guard. That's what I've done with my Heresy collections. So you think of a project like the Armentura Macragge Solar Auxilia. The Armentura Ultramarine Solar Auxilia, for example, or the Gundernet Rifles, something like that. You pick a theme that you want to do and you lean into it and you build it. And it should be up to the transhuman player that's going up against you to tone their stuff down to match your level of geek. And then you'll have awesome games. Because one of the things you need to do in Heresy is really have a conversation with the person before you play them. If I turn up with a 5,000 point list and I've got my tanks and I've got my dreadnoughts and I've got all my stuff, and opposite me, my opponent turns up with their 5,000 point list and they've got a Primarch and a Reaver Titan, I'm going to lose. Why? Because that's a Titan and that's a Primarch. I'm going to lose. You really need to have these conversations before you play in Heresy. You have the conversation. I have the conversation all the time. Are you bringing a Titan? Yes, no. Are you bringing a Primarch? Yes, no. If they're bringing a Primarch, I'm bringing a Primarch. They're not bringing a Primarch, I'm not bringing a Primarch. How many Dreadnoughts you bringing? I'm bringing 3. Okay, I'll bring them back 3. How many Dreadnoughts you bringing? 7? Ooh, then you've got to bring a good list. You've got to have these pre-conversations. And so if you're doing Solar Auxilia, I wouldn't worry about building the list is something good. I would worry about the collection. So answering your question, is the box set a good start? Yes, it is. Because it's a good way to start a good collection. You're going to want and you're going to need and you're going to use all the things in there. You're just going to spend a lot more money than Legion players and you're going to lose more. But your army, the Solar Auxilia army, will look so cool when it's done. So cool. Where are we? Questions? Definitely not a gator. Thank you for your donation. Definitely not a gator. Love your handle, by the way. Fantastic handle. Definitely not a gator. Thank you for your donation. Legend. There's a law streamer YouTuber who collects models but wants someone to teach them how to play tabletop. Would you be interested? There's a law streamer YouTuber who collects models but wants someone to teach them how to play tabletop. Would you be interested? Me? I've been helping Luton play. He's a law streamer YouTuber who collects models, and me and him, we've had a few games. He gets a few games in. He's good. But would I be interested? Did someone burp? It depends whether they're close and whether they want to come here. And I don't know who you're talking about. Maybe get in contact with me, whoever you are, law streamer, YouTuber, and we'll go from there. Maybe. Brian, thanks so much. Helpful. No problem. To answer your thing. Thank you for the compliment. No, thank you. No, definitely not a gator. I love it. I think that's the same with any system, whether Horus Heresy, Old World, or even to us say those. Do you ever post the combat school lessons you gave Sultan? No. Because the edition has changed and the rules have changed. So the combat school, I've got some missions. The missions that I've put on the Discord for members are missions that are applicable in any edition. They work. But things like combat school, for example, combat school, we went through all the missions in the main rulebook bit by bit, and we added to the Force Org. Now there aren't any missions in the main rulebook, and you can't add to the Force Org. So, because there is no Force Org, it's rule of 3. So combat school don't work no more. Now you could adapt it, but am I gonna? I'm looking forward to the next thing. I'm actually quite optimistic about Heresy right now. I'm looking forward to the new Krieg. I'm looking forward to the new Emperor's Children. I'm looking forward to the new Eldar when they come out. I've got my Tomb Bikes. I'm looking forward to playing with them. I'm looking forward to playing with my new Guard. I've just finished the Iron Hands project. Looking forward to expanding on the Emperor's Children project because I've got Fulgrim over there for the first time. He's been out. You couldn't get him for 9 months. Couldn't buy him for 9 months. I've been trying. Finally could get Fulgrim, and a week after I got Fulgrim, out of stock again. So I've got Fulgrim, and I'm going to do it, and then we're going to get on to that. I'm quite excited for all the things that I'm cautiously optimistic for the hobby. Do you think the virtual game will outlive the board? No. I think it will complement the board. I think because you can play on Tabletop Simulator Warhammer 40k, but there's something about the models and something about the painting process and something about being in a room with someone, chatting to someone. Like if you're well into football, you'd be chatting down the pub about football all the time. If you're well into karting, you'd be chatting with your karting friends about karting all the time. If you're well into airsoft, you'd be chatting about that. There's something about chatting to people, either in a forum like this, or in the Discord, or someone you know, or with a random stranger you meet on there's something community about the community, and there's something tactile about the hobby, which we're collectors of things. We want those things. I want that thing on my shelf there, and I want to look at it and go, that's a nice thing. Look at that thing. And most of us, again, aren't players. Most of us are collectors. And then after that, most of us are painters. And then after that, most of us, you look on the YouTube stuff, the biggest numbers out there are for hobbyists, people who are just collecting. Then the second biggest, painting, and then the third biggest, lore. And then battle reports are way down the channel. You've got to it's a long way down the rabbit hole till you're actually pushing dice around on a table. So you know what I mean. Can't take the passion away. What we hang for? Since I had kids, I can't paint. Nice. What's up, Andrew Sol? Have I ever tried Turbo Dork paints? No. Yeah, people always want analog, physical things. People like owning stuff. Yeah. Yeah. It's having the thing. What am I taking to King in the North? I think you asked that earlier on. I saw that question. I don't know. Have you got any suggestions, Jackus Woods? I don't know. I haven't thought that far ahead yet. I know, as you say, that far ahead. Where are we? It's, oh God, it's like 2 weeks away. Analog, greater than digital. Necrons? No, because I've just painted them. I might bring Necrons. I brought them last year, the Necrons, but time you played Eldar. No, I'm not playing Eldar. I could bring my guard, my traitor guard. That might be interesting. I do see maybe the traitor guard. Bring a really big tank. You're not like Titanic units, right, at King in the North? For those who don't know, King in the North is a community event being ran at Element Games in Manchester, and I'm going to it. And the next community on the 25th of January, the next community event that there are still a couple of tickets available for. And when I say a couple, I checked like yesterday, there were like 3 tickets left. If you want to come along to an event, meet me and play with the community, then March of Winters is happening on Saturday, the 14th of June at Element Games in Manchester. Tickets are up for sale on the March of War website. Go to marchofwar.co.uk, go to the events page, click on there. There's 3 tickets left. That one I'm running with March of War. That's why it's called March of Winters. And there's 3 games over the course of 1 day, 1,200 points, 3 games, no Titanic units. And they're all fun, silly games. It's not a tournament. You have fun, silly games. And your chance to meet me, have a chat with me, and hang out with some legends of the community. And hang out. And they got a bar at Element Games. You get drunk there as well. And I tend to go up the night before. I'd be up on the Saturday night. Getting drunk on the Saturday night the night before. And the next day, hopefully won't get too drunk on the evening. And then the next day, run the tournament. And the thing I really like about those events is I get to walk around the whole hall, my legs, get your steps in, and chat to everyone. And enjoy their hobby goodness. Like, well, how did you paint that? Why did you paint that? What did you paint that for? And yeah, get to jump around and get very excited with other people's hobby goodness. I really, really enjoy it. I don't get out of the house much as well, so it's nice. Get the steps in. My favourite armies of yours are the Necrons and the end of all things. So 2 pence. So Necrons or the end of all things. Okay. Any news on the narrative event? Not yet. Probably announce it after King in the North. Tactile, physical, analog. We like touching things. Guys, how long have I been smashing? It's nearly an hour and a half. Guys, it's nearly an hour and a half. I think we need to we need to wrap it up. We need to call time unless you want to shout out and shout last questions. 2-minute warning. Next Tuesday. Where are we? We're available next Tuesday, and then that. Good, yes. So next Tuesday the 14th, 8 p.m. for these things, because it helps keep the Americans happy. Hopefully, I didn't see Stuart Wood in the chat this time, so hopefully the New Zealand hasn't fallen off the world. Stuart Field, sorry. You smashed it tonight. You're my rock. Stay strong. Thank you, Nosferatu. I appreciate you. Yeah, as I said at the start, it didn't start off very well. Taxes. It's good to chat with you guys. Takes my mind off the taxes. So, and it's good chat and hobby. And that's why I don't think the computer virtual reality will ever take over this. It's the chat. It's the talking. Thank you, Frederick. I appreciate you. Thank you. You thinking of getting any new armies? Yes. I'm thinking of adding to the Necrons, and I'm thinking of getting Imperial Guard. Well, I've got Imperial Guard, sort of. There might be a new Guard Codex coming soon. And I like tanks. Who doesn't like tanks? Loft would be a home office tax offset. It would be. It would also be an incredible amount of money. Far too much money. Thank you, Soul Hunter. Thank you, JR. Thank you, everyone. It's Wednesday already. There's Stuart. He is in the chat. Talking to us from the future. New Zealand hasn't fallen off the end of the world yet. But thank you for joining me on this Talky Tuesday live stream. I get the distinct impression, I sense that next Tuesday we're going to have quite a lot to talk about. So good night one and all, and happy wargaming.